Simon Pegg. He's going full Heath Ledger in this movie, and I'm here for it. What is up, Flick fans? Welcome back to my channel. Brand new movie dropped today on demand. I was interested, so I wanted to do a review. This is called Inheritance. I need your comments down below. Have you heard of it? Did you like it? And let's get right into it. So, in Inheritance, a patriarch of a wealthy and powerful family suddenly passes away, leaving his wife and daughter with a shocking secret inheritance that threatens to unravel and destroy their lives. So this is directed by Von Stein, who directed Terminal. I didn't get a chance to see that. I thought it looked interesting, and then I heard the reviews, and I just said, oh no. But I can't judge it because I haven't seen it. So I saw this premise. I saw the cast. Lily Collins, I'm a big fan of. Obviously, Simon Pegg. He's an actor I want to see more of what we got in this movie. The more dramatic and emotional side. Still a little bit kooky at times, but man, I really got a lot from his performance, more than expected. If he wasn't a part of this film, I don't think I would have been near as enthusiastic about certain events that happened. And I'll be flat honest with you guys. When this movie started, I was like, this is one of the worst movies I've seen all year. A lot of it comes down to the craft, the technical elements. It was so jumpy and poorly edited, and literally the first scene, we're going from place to place to place, and it didn't feel cohesive. And I said, oh no, this is going to be a complete bust of a film. And I look back at my experience, and I don't think it's necessarily a well-crafted movie. I do think what I had issues with in the first act kind of carried over throughout the film, and it was a disappointment overall. But there were some things in here that I really enjoyed. Like I said, Pegg's performance is just so much more than what this movie ended up giving me. He went full on. Now, there was a wig that didn't look that great at the beginning of the film. But if you can look past that, you can see what he brought to this role, and he really was trying it. Really, everyone is solid overall. I think the funniest thing was seeing Patrick Warburton as the father at the beginning. I'm like, obviously he's not going to play a big role because he is the father, and we know what happens to his character. But it just threw me off. I'm like, oh, he's being serious for once. And what his character means to this overarching story is pretty grand because you just don't know who to trust. Obviously, we're with Lauren every step of the way, and she's balancing family life with her father's tragic passing, and then she stumbles into something that involves Pegg's character, and she really just doesn't know what to do with herself. Do I tell people about what went down with my father and Pegg? Do I just let it sit and resolve itself? And she's constantly being manipulated by everyone around her because it's just this web of lies. Who do I believe? The man that was wronged by people in my family? Do I believe those in my family that are telling me one thing and maybe something else is happening behind the scenes? A lot of really shady, wealthy people in this movie, and it's constant lies all across the board, except for her close-knit family, her husband and her daughter, who just don't play as integral of a role as I wanted them to. While you're rooting for her just because of everything that she gets caught up into and the tragic passing of her father, I needed more on that emotional side, right? You understand that the conflict is there from the events that are playing out on screen, but we didn't get a lot from her at the beginning prior to what happened to her father. So you're rooting for her because it's Lily Collins, but the character depth and development is just not there. She's really a one-dimensional character, and she goes through somewhat of an arc, absolutely, but it didn't feel as realized as what this concept would lead you to believe, because I really enjoyed the concept. And as it was playing out on screen, the first act, just not there. I'm struggling with getting through this movie because I just don't think the filmmaking was as good as I needed it to be. The second act, things begin to pick up, and you're like, oh, okay, what is the decision that she is going to make? Is she going to lean this way or this way? And you're waiting for her to make that decision. And once she makes it in the third act, you're like, oh, okay. But then they throw something else at you. Something that I think we're all going to predict is going to come eventually, but they do it in such a cliche, predictable, and conventional way, and that's when things go a bit over the top with a certain character that I don't want to spoil, and I just didn't like that decision. It does add more drama, and does kind of make up for the slow pacing in the second act, but I actually prefer the moments that were slower paced because we get a bit of dialogue. We're starting to learn more through the characters. At times, it's expositional. They're kind of telling instead of showing, and that was a bit of a bummer, but I was at least more interested then than when we got super predictable at the end. So overall, Inheritance did not quite do it for me. I like the color correction in the movie, but the overall look, the camera movement, the feel, it didn't really work for me. I think the direction fell a bit flat here. Maybe more craft in that vein would have helped this movie flow, but it felt a bit choppy. A couple of the side performances weren't all there. The main performances were really good, and like I said, Simon Pegg stole the show, but Inheritance just didn't work at the end of the day. So if you guys enjoy these reviews, be sure to smash that thumbs up button down below, and I'd love to know what other movie do you want to see me review this weekend. Going to 40%, a 4 out of 10 for Inheritance. I was leaning lower, but like I said, the story progression finally started to get me a bit more interested. Thank you guys for watching. More Netflix reviews to come this weekend, and some very special videos. I'll see you soon.